What does a very secret state hide? North Korea presents a face of perfect unity to the world. We see images of synchronized parades. We hear thunderous applause for its leaders. But this is a carefully constructed image. It is a thin veneer over a far more complex and hidden reality. Beneath the surface of propaganda and public control, a labyrinth of secret systems operates. These clandestine networks are designed for one primary purpose: to ensure the survival of the regime. They work silently to fund the leadership. They work silently to enforce absolute loyalty. They work silently to project power far beyond the country's sealed borders. To understand North Korea, one must look past the grand monuments and into the shadows where its true mechanics are at work. This essay will peel back some of those layers. It will explore the hidden machinery that keeps the Kim dynasty in power. The story of modern North Korea begins in the ashes of World War II and the brutal conflict that followed. After Japan's colonial rule ended, the Korean peninsula was divided. The Soviet Union occupied the north. The United States occupied the south. In the north, a young anti-Japanese guerrilla fighter named Kim Il-sung was installed as leader. He quickly consolidated his power, building a state modeled on Stalinist principles with a uniquely Korean twist. The Korean War raged from 1950 to 1953 and was a defining moment. It devastated the peninsula, hardened the ideological divide, and provided the regime with a powerful founding myth: a nation under constant threat, especially from the United States. This narrative of perpetual siege became the bedrock of the state's identity. Kim Il-sung used the memory of the war's destruction to justify extreme measures of control and sacrifice. The nation, he argued, had to be a fortress, united behind a single powerful leader to prevent another invasion. To maintain its grip on power, the North Korean regime developed its own guiding ideologies. These are not just abstract political theories. They dictate national policy and shape the daily lives of every citizen. The most important of these is juche, typically translated as self-reliance. On the surface, it is an idea about national independence. It states that the Korean people are the masters of their own destiny and must solve their own problems using their own resources. This philosophy was developed by Kim Il-sung as a way to assert North Korea's independence from its powerful patrons, the Soviet Union and China. It became a powerful tool for mobilizing the population and demanding endless sacrifice. In practice, juche has been used to justify extreme isolation and economic hardship. When the economy faltered or famine struck, the regime did not blame its own policies. Instead, it pointed to the juche idea, telling the people that their suffering was a noble part of building a strong, self-reliant nation. The second core pillar of the regime's ideology is Songun, or military first. Elevated by Kim Jong-il in the 1990s after the fall of the Soviet Union, Songun prioritizes the Korean people's army over all else. Resources must first go to the military to ensure strength against external threats. The army is not just a defense force. It is portrayed as the engine of the revolution and the protector of the leadership. This policy justifies the enormous defense budget, including costly nuclear and missile programs, even while millions lack food, medicine, and electricity. Together, juche and Songun create a powerful framework for totalitarian control. Juche isolates and demands sacrifice. Songun channels wealth to the military to suppress dissent. They are the ideological glue that holds the secret state together. While the North Korean people are taught to live by self-reliance, the ruling elite operates by a very different set of rules. To maintain their luxurious lifestyles and fund the country's weapons programs, the leadership relies on organizations tasked with earning foreign currency by any means necessary. The most notorious is Office 39. Established in the 1970s within the Workers' Party of Korea, its purpose is to manage the Kim family's slush funds, the financial engine of the dynasty. It controls legal and illegal enterprises, gold mining, agricultural exports, overseas restaurants, and far darker trades. Testimony and intelligence link Office 39 to narcotics, counterfeit cigarettes, endangered species, and international smuggling. Hundreds of millions in untraceable cash flow into the leader's coffers. Infamously, it produced near-perfect counterfeit U.S. currency, supernotes, allegedly on state presses, distributed through diplomats and operatives. Design changes reduced the operation, but it remains a stark example of state-sponsored crime. This money buys loyalty, imports luxury, and funds weapons of mass destruction, not the people's welfare. While preaching Juche and blaming sanctions, the regime runs a global criminal enterprise. A parallel secret economy deepens the divide between masses and elite. Office 39 keeps key figures loyal and bankrolls defiance of the international community, while the general population endures profound hardship. Covert actions beyond the border. North Korea's secret activities are not limited to financial schemes. Terrorism, espionage, abduction, missions to eliminate threats, gather intelligence, and train agents. In 1983, a bomb in Rangoon sought to assassinate South Korea's President Chun Doo-hwan. He survived, 21 others died. In 1987, Korean Air Flight 858 was bombed, killing 115. Captured agent Kim Hyeon-hui said Kim Jong-il ordered it to disrupt the 1988 Olympics. Japanese citizens were abducted to teach language and culture to spies. In 2002, Kim Jong-il admitted 13 cases, yet many fates remain unknown. In 2017, Kim Jong-nam was assassinated with VX nerve agent in Malaysia, showing the regime's global reach. These operations instill fear, yield intelligence, and silence defectors with sensitive information. It is a state that treats international law as an obstacle to bypass. The methods are often brutal and direct. A legacy of fear and mistrust remains, especially in South Korea and Japan. Inside North Korea, the most important battle is for control over information. The regime maintains a complete monopoly on what its people see, hear, and think. It has constructed one of the world's most comprehensive systems of censorship and surveillance. This great firewall is digital, physical, and psychological. All domestic media, television, radio, and newspapers is state-controlled. A monotonous diet of praise for the Kim family, miraculous achievements, and warnings of hostile forces. Access to the global internet is reserved for a tiny elite. Instead, a closed domestic intranet called Pyongyang, Bright Star, offers only approved sites and email. A digital walled garden curated to reinforce the regime's narrative. Even Red Star OS is designed for surveillance, tracking activity, and blocking unapproved files. Radios and televisions are fixed to official channels. Tampering to hear foreign broadcasts is a serious crime. Despite this, many risk everything to access outside information. South Korean dramas, Hollywood films, and international news are smuggled in on USBs and microSD cards. For many, these shows are a first glimpse of freedom, prosperity, and open emotion. The regime created Group 109 to hunt down and punish those who consume or distribute illegal media. Punishments range from years in labor camps to public execution. Informants sow fear and mistrust among neighbors. Yet tiny drives spread ideas the state cannot fully stop. Digital seeds of change. One of the most significant cracks in the wall of control. For decades, the inner reality of North Korea was almost entirely hidden from view. What we knew came from the state's propaganda or distant satellite photos. That began to change as people escaped, defectors who offered intimate insights. Each story is a harrowing journey of survival, courage, and loss. They speak of chronic food shortages, the constant fear of surveillance, and the brutal reality of political prison camps, the Kwanliso. Their testimonies reveal a world far from the vibrant parades on TV. Hunger was constant, especially during the arduous march. The 1990s famine that killed hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions. Defectors like Yeonmi Park and Hyunseo Lee describe childhoods of fear and starvation and perilous escapes through China and Southeast Asia. They confirm a ruling class in luxury, imported cars, fine liquor, designer goods, while the public tightens belts for the revolution. Caught in China, many are forcibly repatriated to torture, imprisonment, or execution. Even in safety, fear and trauma remain. The regime punishes families left behind. Despite immense risks, thousands still attempt the journey each year. Their stories are a testament to human resilience, and the most damning indictment of the secret state they fled. They challenge the official narrative of a socialist paradise, revealing a deep gap between public devotion and private cynicism. As the world interconnects, North Korea adapts its secrecy and aggression. It expanded into cyberspace and concealed infrastructure. Hackers often operate abroad to obscure origins. Cyber warriors generate revenue, steal sensitive information, and harass adversaries with deniability. In 2016, they were blamed for stealing $81 million via SWIFT from Bangladesh's central bank. In 2017, the WannaCry ransomware crippled hospitals, businesses, and agencies worldwide. These attacks fund the regime and showcase disruptive capability. Commercial imagery reveals undeclared missile bases in remote mountains. Entrances are camouflaged, support buildings mimic civilian structures. It is hard to dismantle what you cannot fully see. Incomplete declarations stall diplomacy. Modern tech deepens secrecy and enhances the ability to threaten from the shadows. The new frontiers are digital and subterranean, making the threat more complex than ever. In summary, North Korea is a state built upon secrecy, control, and fear. From the Kim cult of personality to modern cyber warfare, hidden systems ensure regime survival. It controls through information monopoly, surveillance, and brutal punishment. It funds itself via Office 39, smuggling and counterfeiting, while projecting power through covert actions and hidden bases. Unmasking relies on defectors, satellite analysis, and painstaking reporting. It matters for human rights and global security. Understanding enables wiser policy and support for those seeking freedom. The truth, however fragmented, is the most powerful tool against a state built on lies.